Greetings from Sweden, and welcome to Everyday Mystic, an aid to your spiritual growth. My name is David, and I've been thinking a little bit about the problem of free will lately. And I don't in any way claim that I've come up with a solution to this very complex problem. But what I've realized is that I don't think that we will ever be able to solve this problem on the level of the intellect at all. What I instead believe is that we are only free in God. We can only choose God's will or the will of the world. I've talked about this before, but I want to get into this a little bit deeper. And this is sort of a logical argument, and you can poke as many holes in it as you want to, but I suggest first of all that God's will is perfect. This means that we cannot want anything other on the deepest level than what God wills. So therefore, the freest choice we could ever make is to choose what God wants us to choose. Because in the end we want to choose the absolute best that we can choose. Maybe this means that we are free, or maybe it doesn't mean that we are free. But I'm going to continue this line of argument a little bit, and we'll see if we can sort it out. Because, you see, this is what my experience tells me in no unquestionable terms. Namely that we exist on many different levels. One level is this physical body. Another level is the inner body or the astral body. I actually don't know if these two bodies are different, but from what I can tell, these are the same, and it's just two different words for the same thing. And then we have this energy field that flows through everything that we are a part of, which I call the Holy Spirit. And we probably have several other levels on top of that I haven't really experienced for myself. We also have the emotional level, which is not just part of the physical, and we have the thought level, which also are not part of the physical level. And at the highest level of all of this is God, which we are one with. This is something that you have to go inside in meditation and experience for yourself. It's nothing that can be proven. It is all about experience. But really, this whole human existence is about experience. You don't have access to anything other than your own experience, at least not in this normal state that we usually operate from. There might be other states where we can enter other people's minds, and we have sort of a little foretaste of this with like empath abilities, where we can feel other people's emotions and stuff like that. But it's very far from actually going in and experience the world from another perspective than our own. So that is one thing. And of course, if we are one with God, and God is free, then on a fundamental level we must also have a free will. I know that this is very abstract in many ways. And as I said, you have to go through this process and experience everything that I'm talking about for yourself. But I think that at least some of you that are listening to this are resonating with it. Because for me, I know that this is the case. I know that this is true. I don't have all the details at hand yet, because For some reason or another, I am not allowed to see the whole picture of things. I am only allowed to see a part of it, just like many others are allowed to see other parts of this. So moving on. We are a part of a vast infinite consciousness, and what we need to do is let go of resistance so this consciousness can flow through us more freely. When we stop resisting what is, God's infinite consciousness, God's infinite power will start to flow through us more and more freely as we let go of the blockages inside of ourselves. And in the end, I know that this process is leading towards a total surrender to the will of God. Because you see, all of these struggles that we are experiencing in this physical reality, they are an anomaly. This is not how creation is meant to be. I don't know why humanity fell and we found ourselves in this state. The Bible tells us about the fall in the book of Genesis, but really, this is quite obviously a symbolic story, but it points to some real event somewhere down in history. But I don't know what actually took place. Maybe someone knows, but I don't. I just know that this state that we are operating from right now is not our natural state. And one big step that we need to take on this journey is to slowly and gradually learn to accept exactly where we are. With all of the pain and struggles and all of our baggage that we have with us, we need to learn to accept this. And we also need to learn to accept ourselves as we are. To look at ourselves and say, this is me right now. Because no matter if we accept it or not, it is what it is. And it's only our little egos, projections onto everything that makes one journey better than another. Yes, sure. For us on a personal level, it's of course better to not suffer, to not feel pain, to not have all of these struggles. But for one reason or another, we have them. And we need to accept where we are. In the grander scheme of things, except for questions of morality, I think this is a separate issue. But when it comes to how strong or weak we are, how far along the path we have walked, how good control we have over our emotions and things like that, it's neutral. It doesn't really matter in the grander scheme of things. And the sooner we can really look at this fact and accept just the way we are, the easier it will be to move forward. Because this is a part of how we are resisting life, how we are resisting the present moment, that we cannot look upon ourselves and accept ourselves. And when we don't accept ourselves, we also are more prone to hide things from ourselves. So this we must start to let go of. But we should of course not beat ourselves up for our inability to let go of it. Then this just becomes another way of not accepting ourselves as we are. We just need to bring more and more consciousness into the present moment and look at ourselves as objectively as possible without judging what we see, and not even judge the judgment, if that makes any sense. And one big mistake that we are doing in this quest that we are on, you could say, is that we think that our egos are meant to do things. Our egos can do nothing on its own. Everything is from God. The ego is just an illusion. The ego's little wants and wishes and strivings are just illusions. And we need to get the ego out of the way so God can act through us instead. And in these days that we are living, it's actually quite important to act. It's quite important to allow God to shine through our actions. But when we do this from this level, we will know how to act. And with a big emphasis on act, not react. Because this is the ego's normal state of operating from. Reacting to everything, being triggered, and do things without really thinking about it, and then explain it afterwards as some sort of rational choice, while we were really just acting out pre-programmed behavioral patterns. So, this begins by, as I said, not resisting the present moment. And I'm again going to explain how this works, because this is really something that you need to get on this process. This will make things move forward for you, and you can more and more let your ego sit down in the passenger seat and let God sit down in the driver's seat. So, when you resistance start up here in the head, you can feel it, and I will do my best to illustrate how this works. Like, imagine that you hear a really loud, annoying sound, and you go like this, like that. And imagine that this is sort of how this resistance feels, but usually without any physical components to it. Just think about how it feels inside when you do that, when you hear a loud noise. And then something gets triggered inside of the body. This is always how resistance acts. You first resist it up here, and something gets triggered inside of your energy body. An emotion gets triggered, and you either act on it or you suppress it. And this can happen in basically 3 ways. Either it just gets triggered spontaneously, or some outer events trigger it, or a memory or a thought starts triggering an emotion. These are the ways that this happens. And when an emotion gets triggered, it automatically attracts your attention. And what you really only need to do is decide to let it go and just go back with your attention to inside of your head. You don't have to do anything more than that. But before you get this right, it might lead to a lot of frustration, because you really have to experience it for yourself in order to understand how this works. But when it clicks, it will start changing everything for you. So what you need to do is get into the habit of noticing resistance more and more. And this process will get easier and easier. The more consciousness you bring into this, the easier it will get. And memories, thoughts, and experience can often feed into each other as well. Think of, for example, that you have an experience that triggers some sort of emotion, and then it might in turn trigger memory that is connected to the experience that you're having right now. And you might start thinking about the memory, thinking about a bunch of negative thoughts, which all of these things reinforce each other. And again, what you need to do instead is just bring back your awareness to inside of your head, to this little infinitesimal point inside of the pineal gland that is your third eye. So what you need to do is just experience whatever it is that you are experiencing fully. Just stay centered, conscious and aware, and just allow the emotion to pass through you. And what you will notice is that the more you let go, the more you release, the more you manage to bring your attention back to the present moment, the more your consciousness will start expand inside of your head. Your consciousness will expand and expand and expand towards infinity. In other words, that which is infinitely big is to be found in that which is infinitely small. As above, so below. Now, relax and let go. And that's it for today. If you like this video, please leave a like, as this helps the video to get noticed on YouTube. And leave a comment and share the video on social media and other places. And check out the comment section and the description for other things that me and my wife are doing. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. And hit the notification bell so you always get noticed when I put up new videos, which I do every day. And other than that, just sincerely thank you for your time.